going on, Jerome? So we're in an undisclosed location for a couple of days, and we wanted to do a life and advice Q&A. So there's actually no football in this one. So if you're here for the football content, which we don't do a lot of football content, this ain't your video. So check out. Actually, watch it on mute and then just move on. Well, we gotta get credit here. Vikings Nation 4789. I feel like patience is one of the most important things to have as an individual. Doing the little things day to day that you may not enjoy, and having faith that things will work out in the future, whether it's your money, relationships, etc. Can you speak to this? I would say yes to a degree, because I think that habits are really what make someone successful, and it's what you do every single day, whether it's saving money, whether it's getting up and getting some exercise in, going to bed at night, turning off the Netflix and the phone and actually getting some sleep, spending time with others, investing in your relationships, investing in your health, investing in your career. All that does make sense, but at a certain point, just patience and then hoping something happens, that's not going to cut it, because every now and then there's a moment when you have to strike where you're this is a weird example, but you have a business idea, and one of the greatest VC investors in your area is on the same flight as you. Well, you're probably not sitting in first class, but you know what I mean. Or just sometimes opportunities come up and you have to strike. You have to strike then. But a lot of the times, a lot of the things that you've worked for, a lot of things that you've worked on in your life, like led you to that moment and prepared you. And not getting into spirituality and stuff, but whether you believe in God or any other sort of higher power, I mean, they don't really make mistakes. And, they brought you to this point for a reason. Danny, any dating advice for a single Jeromes? Love you, Andy. Thanks for brightening every day with video. Skull. So I haven't had a first date in 15 years. Yeah, 14, 15 years. But I will say, so we've gone over this before, where you got to know what you're dating for, right? And a lot of people out there, I get this relayed because I still have some friends that are single, or some friends that are divorced, where, I mean, they're out there and no one really knows what they want. And if you're dating to find someone to spend the rest of your life with, have kids, start a family, like that should be upfront. If you're dating just to have a little funsies, I mean, that should be upfront as well. And I feel like a lot of the friction in, pun intended, a lot of the friction in dating comes from people who obviously want different things, but they don't want to bring it up because they don't want to ruin the possibility that the things will actually work out. All right. So I think that is the key, where if you're just having fun, or if this is literally a job interview for marriage, I mean, that needs to be upfront. And dating advice: do something active on the first date. Like dinner and a movie is stupid, but get out there, go to Topgolf, go bowling, go to Psycho Susie's, go to the axe throwing place, go to an escape room. Do something where you're active, where you're on your feet, as opposed to a person just sitting there and it's like a witness protect, or like you're getting grilled by the FBI. No one likes that. Also, eat something messy. Eat something that you have to eat with your hands. All right. So talk about wings, talk about ribs, talking about go to a bar with popcorn. All right, because people, first off, people need to be themselves, and this goes for men and women. Because if you go into a date and you're pretending to be something that you're not, like you're pretending to be all prim and proper, like you're pretending not to cuss, you're pretending not to tell dirty jokes, you're pretending not to do this, that, or the other thing, and the person gives you a second date, guess what? It isn't a second date with you. It's a second date with the facsimile, the facade that you put out there. All right, so that doesn't work. Be yourself. And also, don't be afraid if something doesn't work out, because if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And the whole cliche of there's lots of fish in the sea. Or would you rather be with someone who is not compatible with you, someone that you're not going to be happy with, just to say that you're with someone? That's ridiculous. That's absolutely stupid. No. And so, man. Can you give any tips on writing resumes? It's been a while since I've done mine, and currently I'm applying to jobs, but I don't know if there has been any changes in formatting on resumes. Thank you, and keep up the great content, Skull Gang. So I've always worked for myself generally, so I haven't had to write a resume since, I don't know, like resume writing class in college. Actually, was there such a thing? It really doesn't matter. But so I can't really speak to advice. I will say, so I have looked at resumes before when groups I'm involved in have been hiring, and nothing turned me off more than when people were clearly just bragging about themselves. And I understand the resume is about you, but you don't have to fluff things up. You don't have to say it's like, I managed 50,000 metric tons of product. Don't care. Like, you manage a warehouse, you manage logistics, you manage this. Can you get something done? Where it's sort of like dating. That coming back to that dating advice thing, where you don't need to puff out your chest, you don't need to enhance your resume, because there's nothing worse than just lying, right? But let your accomplishments speak for yourself, and if you can get the job done, you can get the job done. Like, no one's at the end of the day, no one's impressed to where you went to college. No one's impressed what you did at previous jobs. Like, can you do the job? And also, can you fit in with the culture? Can you work with other people? That comes down to it. So. I wouldn't sweat over it too much. Seth V. Herman, do you meal plan as a family or just go night by night deciding what you want? Tips. So we sort of meal plan in general, but also we decide. So we have a rough outline, and then also we just go night by night, like what everyone's feeling that morning. So I think a good way to go about that is having a stock pantry with lots of items that go into. So we have like a dozen go-to meals. Well, the kids have like 3. But like a dozen, 15 go-to meals, and just whatever the wife and I are feeling that morning. We got a freezer full of meat. We just bought half a cow. So we're stocked there. We also got some game, and also we got some organic chicken, which is fantastic. Also got a ton of salmon in there. So we're pretty much good to go on proteins. Then whatever we want to do, we like stocking up on vegetables. So we can do a nice salad with a protein. We can do like a stir fry. We can do taco night. We can do Asian food. We can do all that stuff. We can just grill, even in the winter. So I think just having options, because you don't know for sure what you're going to feel that day, and then just go for it. Yeah, just be ready so you don't have to get ready. It's one of those spots. So if you're stocked up and prepared for whatever you want to do that day, that sure as hell beats getting home at 6:00 and then having nothing ready. Danny. Also, I was very anti-air fryer. Now I'm an air fryer zealot, because it is so easy just to chuck stuff in there and then just turn it on, and they can just go do other stuff. It's amazing, man. Danny, where do you want to travel most and why? How did you begin your podcast channel? What's your favorite movie? What other hobbies aside from school? Travel. Well, I am a big Roman history nerd, so I certainly want to go to Rome, Italy, basically like the extent of the Roman Empire as well. Like, I know that Hadrian's Wall isn't there anymore, but I want to go to Northern England and just see it. You know what I mean? Big fan of Greek history as well. Want to go see Thermopylae, even though it's basically like a ditch on the side of the highway now. So it is what it is. But also going to Asia. I want to go back to Korea. I want to go back to Japan. I don't think I'm allowed in China again. It's a long story. Shanghai's wild, man. But yeah, basically do that. And so as my daughter's getting older, I certainly want to expand her horizons and have her travel, because what I'm actually going to do. So everyone talks about the big family vacation, right? Big family trip. And so you got all the kids, you got the wife, you got all that stuff, and that's a lot of stress. I mean, you're flying with freaking strollers and baby seats and car seats and stuff. You got to rent a car, you got to blah 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 blah. I'm just gonna take each of my kids individually on vacations. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna implore the wife to do. Like the wife and the daughter can go on girls trips. I can take the boy, or soon to be boys. Take them around to baseball stadiums and stuff, or whatever they're interested in. We can take them to Legoland. I'm gonna take the daughter to Korea. It's gonna be fantastic. That's gonna be the way to go. How'd you begin your podcast channel? So this actually started as an audio only podcast. week 14 of the 2013 season. That was the Ravens Blizzard game. And for the YouTube, so we just started pushing the audio from Libsyn to YouTube. Like, you know how you have a podcast provider, which is Libsyn, and it pushes it to like iTunes and iHeart and Stitcher and stuff. And YouTube was included on there. And then we noticed that we were getting some traffic on there, and then we started doing some videos, and that's really about how that happened. Favorite movie? Ocean's 11. I mean, I could probably watch Ocean's 11 on loop. But it's just a good movie. Like the pacing is so good, the performances are amazing, the dialogue is fantastic, and I just love heist movies in general too. Plus, it's Vegas. What are your other hobbies aside from Skull? Cook, play a little poker. What else is there? Really, home improvement. I guess DIY stuff. Actually, the daughter's trying to kind of get me back into Legos. I was a big Lego nerd as a kid. Oh, I guess history would be a hobby. Sure. LT Sparkles. If you could add one franchise, fast food, clothing, etc., of any kind that isn't in Minnesota right now, which would you add? El Pollo Loco. So it's I think it's California, maybe Arizona, maybe Nevada. But it's a Mexican, like roasted rotisserie chicken joint. It is so good, man. And there's tons of fried chicken places, right? But a place that just does amazing roasted chicken, it's just so good. It's just so like there. I will posit that there is nothing better than having this beautiful roasted chicken leg, and that first bite, just oh man, come on. Also, the sides are all fresh. It's all really good. And of course, El Pollo Loco is sort of like Los Pollos Hermanos, so you have some Breaking Bad ties in there. I would certainly add one of those in Minnesota. I think people would love it, man. Connor May. Just thanks for what you do, babe, from Australia. You're my news source. Australia. Put another shrimp on the Barbie. Wait, no, that's Austria. When I wake up, hey, thank you. Question: thoughts on Andrew Tate? I'm not too familiar with Andrew Tate. Like I know that he was he a kickboxer? I know that he was a fighter. I know that he's like controversial. I don't really have an opinion on him. I'm not overly familiar with his work. Janky, what's your favorite thing about being a dad? When I'm working out of the house, I work in the house most of the time, but when I leave for a while, then come back and just have them saying "Daddy" at the door, just amazing, man. And also, just watching them learn things, and like my son who's 3, and he just went through his ABCs, and also he can count to 10 in Korean, and just picked it up. It's kind of awesome, man. And just seeing some of your personality traits in your kids. I see that. Luckily, it's not many, but yeah, just the moments like that, make it just amazing. Kyle Gabberger, are you an ice fisherman? If so, what is your setup and what is the go-to lake? I am not I'm an ice fisherman if like some of my buddies say, hey, you want to go ice fishing? So I don't have a house. I don't really have a rod. I got a case of beer. That's my extent to ice fishing. But it is a good time, especially you're able to pull in a couple walleyes or a couple nice sunnies or a couple northerns, and you're good to go. But I've only ice fished. So I've ice fished on Minnetonka and White Bear Lake, and one other small lake around the cities. I forget which one it was, but it's all been local. Raleigh, that's probably super random, but how does your typical day look like? Getting out of bed, kids, work, time for hobby stuff. So typical day, I'll get up around 6. Up around 6. Do some movement stuff. Either get some cardio in, get some yoga in, whatever. Cook some breakfast for the family, daughters off to school, and start my day, do some work stuff, scan the Vikings social medias, see if there's any content to do, a couple videos, put out a couple videos, and then about 2, 3 in the afternoon, get another workout in. Then about 4, start making dinner for the fam. And then evenings typically wind down. Like we'll watch one of our shows, or something we've been doing lately is watching Family Feud. Steve Harvey's hilarious, man. I love me some Steve Harvey. And kids are in bed around 7:30, and usually I'll if it's Monday or Thursday, I'll watch the game. If it's not, I'll usually do a little bit of work. I'll do a couple more videos, get them ready for the next morning, and that's really about it. Bed like 10:30, 11, somewhere in there, then repeat. Time for hobbies. Play poker on Fridays, sometimes Thursdays. Danny, what are your favorite TV shows currently and number one of all time? If you're comfortable sharing, what mistake did you learn most from in life? Can you remember when you felt the happiest in your life? If you could share a meal with 3 people, dead or alive, who and why? TV shows currently. Favorite TV show currently is Ted Lasso, Yellowstone. Also, that 1923 is going to look really good. 1883 was fantastic. I'm just a big fan of Taylor Sheridan in general. Let's see what else. Like Mayans MC. Love Sons of Anarchy back in the day. For All Mankind on Apple. That's a really good show. Really like that. All time, I mean, Breaking Bad is on there. The Office is on there. Parks and Rec is on there. Yeah, Sons I already mentioned. Yeah. What mistake did you learn the most from in life? I wouldn't necessarily say that there's one mistake that I've learned the most, but something that I've definitely learned as I gotten older is that it's good to have a little bit of grace in life, where people make mistakes, and some people make horrible mistakes, except no one is beyond saving, and people do deserve second chances. And a lot of times it is a spot where someone can learn, they can grow, they can become a better person, and it's never too late to be better, for lack of a better term. And also, as I've gotten older, I've sort of become like it's almost like a midlife crisis thing, but I want to work hard at making people's days and making people's lives a little bit better. And whether it's something as trivial as just talking football and giving someone to watch for a couple minutes of a day, or giving some good advice, or maybe inspiring someone to start putting in some work, start changing their lives, start making better decisions, things like that. Where you at the end of the day, like, no one's going to care how much money you got. No one's going to care how many cars you have. No one's going to care how big your house is. But how many lives you impacted positively, like that's going to be what matters at the end. Can you remember when you felt the happiest in your life? I don't know, today. I'm also a big proponent of living in the present. If you could share a meal with 3 people, dead or alive, who and why? I'm going to say Caesar Augustus, Churchill, and I know I'm supposed to say Jesus, but I feel like that's like a standard answer. So Augustus, Churchill, and I'm gonna say Genghis Khan. Just great people from history. Toss Alexander the Great on there too. Just like, what up? Are you normal? They're normal people. Skull, bro, what are your favorite things about doing YouTube? Probably flexibility. And so we've had offers to join like more traditional media outlets, but I've never had any interest because I really enjoy what we're doing here. Basically because part of the traditional outlet is that there's a lot of bureaucracy. So if I had an idea, I'd have to submit it to like a producer or an editor or a boss or whatever, then probably have to wait half a day and then get approval, blah, blah, blah. But here, if we got an idea that pops in our head, like we could just pop in the office. We could just shoot it on our phone. We could do a lot of stuff. So I think that sort of freedom, and I think that less bureaucracy, less traditional media jabroni-ness, I think allows us to have a better connection with the community. Yeah, I think that's what's going on. John L. Mike, fear of God is the first part of wisdom. Agreed. Smoash, I can't decide between two jobs. It's really weighing on me. I was just wondering if you could help me decide with some reasoning. One is an amazing job, and I get paid $65K a year, but I don't get a promotion for another 5 years, or be the manager of a less successful job and get paid $55K a year, but get to run it my way. Or be the manager or a less successful job and get paid. All right. Well, what do you mean by less successful? Because at the end of the day, like, what is your goal for your job? Like, is this a profession or is this a job? Is this something that you're just punching a clock so you can have money and freedom, for your family or for yourself, family if applicable, sorry. Or is this something where you want to be moving on up to the east side? You finally got a piece of the pie. So I would say, if it's going to grate on you that you're not able to run your business the way that you want it to, or if it's going to frustrate you, if there's dummies in charge, which there generally are, and if that is worth $10K, well, you got to ask yourself, is that worth $10K, right? Or running things your way for $55K, doing it that way and having ownership of what you do in your profession. Like, is that worth the $10K cut, right? Or is this just a punch the clock situation? Take your 65, go home, crack a beer, or do you want the latter job where you're going to be taking it home, you're going to be stressing out, people calling in, all that stuff. So that's something to be weighed in, because if you have aspirations about moving up the ladder, because I don't know this industry in particular, but if you have aspirations moving up the ladder, a manager is probably going to be the way to go. And if you're fulfilled by having some ownership, having some input, and having some control, and then yes, that does factor in. But if you just want a job for that 65, even though if it's something that maybe you could just be easily replaced as like a cog in the machine, that's also has to be taken into account too. So I don't know. It is a little bit of a toss-up, but I think you just have to ask, like, what do you really want? And actually, you can take the money off the table, because, I mean, 10K is 10K, but ultimately your happiness and sanity is what matters at the end of the day. So you got to think about that. TC Tire Letters. When merch available? I need a Skull Production Value hoodie. PurpleFTW.net should be in the link down below. Yeah, store's up right now. Pedro. Oh, and if you order, it's gonna be close. I was gonna say if you order it by the 12th. Actually, no, it's past. Pedro Brana 76. Who is the greatest artist of all time in your opinion? Probably say Da Vinci, because he was so well-rounded. Like, he was an inventor. He was in several different fields of art. Archimedes of Syracuse. Nailed it. Barista One Fist. Top 5 non-sport related places in Minnesota to visit, and when is coming over the pond. Is Minnehaha Falls. Well, Minnesota in general, or just the Twin Cities? But Minnehaha Falls is up there. Duluth. Yes, definitely go there. What else is there in Minnesota? Oh, if you're coming in the fall, travel from Red Wing to Winona along Highway 61. No. Better way would be Winona to Red Wing along Highway 61 to watch the fall colors. It really is amazing. If you can, finagle your way onto a boat. Don't do Lake Minnetonka. I feel like that's a little effed out. But Stillwater's good. Lake Pepin's good, like Lake City area. White Bear Lake is good. Yeah. Experience a little Minnesota lake time, or actually go up north day. Go to Alexandria or Bemidji. Mighty Strange Bird, are you a winter guy or a summer guy? I guess summer, but I actually don't hate winter like a lot of people do. Trick question, are you from St. Paul? And if so, art, songs, or hickory nut? I'm not, and I don't know what those things are. Cool Clean Services, do you work outside of the podcast? Yeesh. TG Baseball, if social media didn't exist, what would you do with your time? That's a good question. I don't know. Take up golf. Josh Rugby, do you do YouTube full time? Nope. It's a very fun, nice side hustle. RB, how do you define life? Life is service to others, and service can mean a lot of things. Like service can literally mean just working for others. Like, a bus driver is serving others. Lunch lady is serving others. A police officer is serving others. But giving some of yourself to improve the lives of others, I think that's what makes a fulfilled life. Now, lots of people are selfish out there. A lot of people just care about, hey, what about mine? But the thing is, the more that you give, and we're not even just talking about money, we're just talking about time, we're talking about effort, we're talking about all that stuff. The more that you give, the more that you get. I mean, that's kind of how it is, where I feel like people are blessed to be blessers. Again, not trying to dive into like religion stuff, but if you got something positive going on in your life, and it is all about perspective, by the way. Like, some people have $10 million in the bank and feel cursed. Like, they don't feel blessed at all. Some people, some people have 2 nickels to rub together, but they got food in their belly and they got a place to sleep that night, and they feel absolutely blessed, and they want to pay it forward to others. And I think that's what it does come down to, where you'll find that the more that you serve others, the more that you're going to be blessed in your own life, and then the more that you can help serve others. It really is an exponential thing. So it really is. So when you die, you got the date you're born, you got that dash, and then you got the year that you died. Life is all about that dash. Like, what are you going to do with it? Tristan Bailey, what's the best way to make passive income? Isn't that the $1 million question? Pun intended. Definitely take everything with a grain of salt. Like, I'm not a passive income guru. I was going to say real estate, except that's certainly up in the air right now. The best ways I found is just investing in stocks that pay a dividend, but then just pile driving that dividend and reinvesting it. So, I mean, that's one way to go. People treat stocks like it's this really confusing thing, but not really. Like, if you're day trading, yes, especially with capital gains taxes, it's sort of moot. But if you're investing in the long haul, if you're buying and holding, and you're not getting spooked, you're not jumping in and out of the market, I think that is the way to go long term to make passive income and have your money grow, without actively watching it. So, I mean, I don't suggest individual stocks. I do suggest mutual funds. I do suggest index funds. So, like, index funds like that have a nice scatter shot around the S&P 500. I think really is the way to go. Tristan D, do you play video games? I'm currently playing the new Pokemon games on Switch. No. I feel like I should. Like, I feel like I should stream video games, but nah, not really. Deplorable Neanderthal. When is it too late for a career change? I don't think it's really ever too late. Especially if it's something that you're passionate about. Where you see a lot of people, whether they're in the military or, say, law enforcement or whatever, places that you retire after 20 years. I mean, there's people getting retiring in their 40s, and is that too late for a career change? Absolutely not. No. So you'll find something that you're passionate about, then you can build a business around it. You can build a career around it, where you get out of the military and you really love woodworking, or you really love jiu-jitsu, so you become a woodworking instructor down at the community college, or you just start making furniture on the side, or you start, if you love jiu-jitsu, you start teaching jiu-jitsu part-time, and then you become a full instructor, and then maybe you start a gym, etc. But I don't think it ever is too late. I mean, hell, if you're older and you just like getting outside and having a mission for the day and being active, I mean, just becoming a Walmart greeter, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you get a couple dollars, you get to see some nice people, and you get out of the house. I mean, that's fantastic. But yeah, I don't think it is, because if you're asking if it's too late to change your career, and it takes some time for like education or an apprenticeship or whatever, then years pass, and you're like, man, I should have done that 2 years ago, when you could have done it today and could have got it done. something like that. Henry Fuller, are nut, tree, and seed oils bad for health? Wants some skull production advice. Certainly not a health expert, but we do try to avoid most seed oils. So that's like vegetable oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, all that stuff. Because I believe they do cause inflammation. I don't like the good kind. So we generally cook with olive oil, and we do, what do we do? What's that second one? Oh, avocado oil. And then also we use coconut oil. Yeah, that's about it. So, certainly not a health expert, but I think a general rule of thumb of trying to avoid like seed oils and also trying to reduce sugar and like processed food and all that stuff, and actually eating real food. Trying to eat organic if you can. Trying to eat grass-fed, antibiotic-free meat if you can. Again, I know that certainly does add up, but just trying to avoid some of the small things certainly is going to help. Tally up better health. Nobel War Prize. Are pizza rolls an unacceptable option for a Viking Super Bowl party? Hell no. I mean, even though we just did the whole seed oil thing, and pizza rolls are probably like half canola oil. Don't care. Any Viking Super Bowl party, hell, we'll eat human beings. Soylent Green is people if the Vikings make the Super Bowl. Memphis Wilson. What are your favorite Christmas movies? I'd say the classics like Rudolph, Charlie Brown, The Grinch, like the OG Grinch. Things that my kids like. The daughter really likes like the Mariah Carey Christmas one, where it's like she has a dog or she wants a dog or one of the things. I don't know. That was really cute. But in terms of like Christmas movies, I like Scrooged with Bill Murray from back in the day. I thought that one was good. But other than that, like there isn't. And Stefan's Sabino, Die Hard Christmas movie. Well, I separate. So there's two categories. There's Christmas movies where Christmas is key to the plot of the story, and then there's movies that happen during Christmas. And Die Hard is the latter. I mean, basically, if you can take Christmas away from the plot, does the plot still hold up? And Die Hard, yes, you can take Christmas out of the plot. Yes, Love Actually, you could take Christmas out of the plot, and it's still basically the same movie. Yeah, so that's really about it. Yeah. Anyways, that is it. That is the life advice Q&A session. No football, but I don't know. I had fun. Hopefully you guys have fun too. Skull production value.